The road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup continues in Concacaf tonight. And for one regional giant, a chance to tighten their grip on the top of Group B and secure a place in the next round of Concacaf qualifying. For the other, it's about pride and growth and the hope of something historic. It is the Bahamas and Costa Rica, live from the Barbados Football Association Technical Centre in Bridgetown. I'm Donnie Barnes. It's a breezy Caribbean evening here in Barbados. Conditions should be pretty good for football tonight. It has cooled off a bit after a very hot day, now at 84 degrees, and the wind's at about 15 miles per hour. It is a very humid day, as you would expect, so still some challenging conditions to play for 90 minutes, but better than it would have been playing in the middle of the day this afternoon. We'll take a look at the group standings in this second round of qualifying. Costa Rica sitting atop the group with the perfect 6 points from 2 matches. They have scored 7 goals. They have not conceded any. And they know that a win tonight would all but assure them a place. In fact, it would assure them a place in the final round of qualifying this September. For the Bahamas, they're still searching for their first ever points at this stage. The stakes are different, but no less important. They're ranked 204th in the world. They come into this match as heavy underdogs, of course, but a clear sense of purpose. They want to measure themselves against one of the region's elite in this final game of their qualifying campaign. They've lost their first 3, including a defeat last Tuesday, but this is the first ever official meeting between these two nations. It offers a classic David versus Goliath storyline. Costa Rica have qualified for 6 World Cups in their distinguished history, most famously reaching the quarterfinals in 2014. And for the Bahamas, tonight is about resilience and identity and incremental progress on the world stage. Just a goal, a moment, a point, any of these would be remembered in the Bahamas for years to come. We'll hear the anthems of these two nations, then see the starting 11s and kickoff. It's the Bahamas and Costa Rica for the first time ever on the road to FIFA World Cup 2026, and it is next.
Please remain standing for the anthem of the Bahamas.
The national anthems of Costa Rica and the Bahamas before we get underway in this World Cup qualifier tonight. A win for Costa Rica puts them into the next round, even with one game to spare in this second qualifying round. The Bahamas looking to end their qualification campaign with a historic result as huge underdogs. We'll see the starting 11s. First for the home side, the Bahamas. It is again Vance Wheaton in goal with a back line of Miller, Cheatham, Tylo, Philip Mins, and Gardner. Milfries, Bales, Thomas, and Lopez in the midfield. Edgecombe up front. Again, it figures to be a game where they're going to have to defend for long stretches and see if they can hold out against Costa Rica. Try to snatch something at the other end, maybe from a set piece or a corner.
Number 12, Alonso
It's a very young Bahamas side. Many of them play collegiately in the United States.
Number 16, Alejandro Brandt.
And quite a moment for Vance Wheaton as he shakes hands with the legendary Keylor Navas. Our match officials, Rion Radix, the center referee, Kessie Phillip, Clinton Hayward, the assistant referees, McManaman Badeau is the fourth official tonight.
Number 4, Jonathan Miller. Number 5, Kevin Keon Thomas. Number 6,
and now the starting 11 for Costa Rica, and the headliner certainly Keylor Navas making his return to the national side. He announced his retirement from international duty last year. He was convinced to come back in early May by head coach Miguel Herrera, who took over this program several months ago. And so Navas back for cap number 116. Manfred Ugalde leads the line up front for them. Keylor Navas, 38 years old, but still playing at a really high level. Just had a great season for Newell's Old Boys in Argentina. Had some massive performances for them. And that convinced Herrera and the Costa Rican coaching staff that they really wanted him to still be part of the national team as they try to qualify for the World Cup as they head to the Gold Cup next week. Big matches coming up this summer, and they hope next summer as well. So Costa Rica in the white and the blue and the red. Keylor Navas wearing his green goalkeeper kit. Always a recognizable figure. Three-time Champions League winner at Real Madrid. 5 years at PSG. Incredible career playing tonight in Barbados here in Bridgetown against the Bahamas. The Bahamas in the gold with the teal sash. We're still a couple minutes from the top of the hour, so we're still going to have to wait a bit for the signal to kick off. It will be Costa Rica kicking things off when we do. They will attack from right to left in this first half. It is such an opportunity for this Bahamas side, even though they are such huge underdogs. So many of these Bahamas players in the single digits in caps, many of them still in the teens in years or early 20s. In fact, almost all of their players are age 17 to 24 approximately, many at 20 or 22. The top of the hour arrives. There is the opening whistle, and we are rolling here in Barbados. Bahamas and Costa Rica. Costa Rica right to the attack as they look to open the scoring right inside the opening seconds, and the Bahamas able to work that away. It's going to be a challenge for the Bahamas to get out from their own defensive third. They're going to have to be extremely organized and resolute to stay in this game. We saw it happen earlier today with the Cayman Islands holding Honduras for 85.5 minutes before Honduras finally broke through and won that game 1-0 in the Cayman Islands. I also saw Jamaica win by only 1-0 against the British Virgin Islands earlier today. Anguilla gave El Salvador a pretty good game, lost 3-0 in the end, but they've seen small island nations in Concacaf hang around for a while. The Bahamas will hope to do the same. Costa Rica probing around the perimeter. Toward the end line, it's stood up with a cross. Comes all the way to the top of the box. Josimar Alcocer, and it's punched over by Vance Wheaton. His first save comes less than 90 seconds in. Vance Wheaton plays at the University of Tampa in the United States. His father, a professional hockey player in the U.S., but he was born in the Bahamas. There is coach Kevin Davies, who was the 4th all-time leading scorer in Bahamas history. Very familiar with the national team and the setup. Early corner swung in. Cleared to the top of the area and hammered up into the air by Lothario Lil Frank Milfries. Costa Rica to the end line, heavy touch. It is a corner. It was kept in play initially, and so a corner is earned by Francisco Calvo. Corner to be taken by Manfred Ugalde, one of the bright younger talents on this squad, just 23 years old. He plays in Russia for Spartak Moscow. Arguably their leading young striker. He swings this into the near post. Cleared away, and then the foul. And a free kick for the Bahamas. There is Miguel Herrera, always a recognizable figure. Won titles in Mexico, of course, with Club America. Coached the Mexican national team in the 2014 World Cup. Won the Gold Cup with Mexico in 2015. And known almost as much for his touchline demeanor as for the trophies and achievements he's notched. Extremely passionate head coach, not afraid to show his emotions during games. Brought in by the Costa Rican Federation at the end of last year to try to reset the culture and the attitude and try to restore some of the swagger to this national team. And swagger is certainly something that Miguel Herrera has been very good at instilling wherever he's gone. And it's a Costa Rican team that has suffered in the last couple of years. Arguably been eclipsed in Central America by Panama, which historically was a nation they had dominated in footballing terms, but not over the last 5 years or so. This is clipped into the area by the Bahamas, and from that free kick, it's the first action for Keylor Navas of the night, as he easily plucks that out of the sky. It's an interesting place to make his international return for Costa Rica, Keylor Navas. It's a game in which he doesn't figure to see a lot of action. You would certainly trust him to be clean and secure when he does. Costa Rica value his experience so much, and they still feel that he's the best goalkeeper they have in their pool. Player who has played at the very highest level, has won the very highest honors in club football, has played in 3 World Cups for Costa Rica. And they're hoping they can qualify for, and that he will play in a 4th. He will certainly play in the Gold Cup starting next weekend. In it goes here for Costa Rica, headed back against the grain, and Wheaton able to collect. Vance Wheaton had a couple shaky moments, but made some excellent stops as well last Tuesday. Costa Rica, that's a fine ball down the right side. From the end line, the cutback is lofted into the area. Skimmed off the back of the attacker's head. That was Alonso Martinez who was arriving. Taken by Joseph Mora. And Mora in low, and half volleyed away. Great commitment from the Bahamas early on, not surprising. That's a good turn from Nicolas Lopez. He's considered one of the brighter young talents on this Bahamas squad. And it's going to be a struggle for the Bahamas to get a hold of the ball in the middle third, or certainly in the attacking third of the pitch. Anytime they can at least get themselves up the pitch a little bit will be helpful. Martinez to the left side for Mora. Now clipped over the top. Out comes Wheaton, and he lets it go. Orlando Gallo delivering that ball. Gallo, a defensive midfielder, hasn't scored for the national team. This is his 16th cap. Generally asked to break up play and cover ground. Allow the more creative midfielders the freedom to go forward. It's what can be strange about these kinds of games, though, when you're playing against a small nation and you're the heavy favorite. Those typically defensive players end up playing much higher up the pitch and being much more a part of the attack than they usually are. Gallo is currently playing in Latvia. Juan Pablo Vargas plays in Colombia for Millonarios. Now Mora. And Mora on the underlap gets the return. And his cutback comes all the way across, and it's volleyed just wide. Met very well by Alonso Martinez, just missed that near stick. It's been decent from Costa Rica. Opener has not arrived just yet. Bahamas, to their credit, aren't just sitting back in a super low block. They're at least pushing into the midfield a little bit. Still a wall of gold shirts trying to block Costa Rica's progression, but not sitting as completely deep as they might be. Josimar Alcocer trying to burst through three defenders, and he does, and through a fourth, and Alcocer had it blocked, still loose on the doorstep. The flag has gone up for offside. The ball's in the net. It does not count. It will not count. Remember, there's no VAR in these qualifiers, so the initial decision from the referee, the assistant referees, those decisions are final. Great dribble from Alcocer. Through two, through a third, through a fourth. And his shot was blocked, and from that deflection, the attacker was offside. Costa Rican player has gone down clutching his face. Play is stopped with the possibility of a head injury. Alonso Martinez clutching his face. Costa Rica now down this left side with Mora. Alcocer, who showed his danger a second ago. Gallo. And now a shot from distance, and Van Sweeten has another save to make. Van Sweeten finished fourth in the National Spelling Bee in the Bahamas during his elementary school days. Keylor Navas with his second touch of the ball. Jalen Mitchell plays for Feyenoord in Holland. And the flag is up again for offside against Costa Rica. Jalen Mitchell, promising young central defender, played this one out of the back, well behind the back line. The attacker for Costa Rica. Jalen Mitchell, regarded as possibly the next big thing for this Costa Rican national side. He's just 20. Made that multi-million euro move to Feyenoord, who are one of the biggest clubs in Holland. It's just handball against Alcocer, so a free kick for the Bahamas. So Jalen Mitchell playing to prove that he belongs in Europe. Of course, so many players have gone on from those big Dutch clubs to even bigger leagues in Europe. And he'll be hoping to do the same thing, and that, of course, would benefit the Costa Rican national side if he can continue to progress. Similar to the way Keylor Navas did years ago. This is clipped in by the Bahamas, delivered by Jean-Ryka Tylo. Able to have just a bit of possession in the attacking half. The Bahamas have placed a big emphasis in their setup with getting more of their players scholarships in the United States. And that's begun to pay off in recent years. There are a few players on this roster who play at the University of Tampa in the United States. One at Northeastern, one at Montverde Academy. And here come Costa Rica, though. Edge of the box. It's a good dribble by Martinez. Tried to lay it off. Now it's put out wide. First time ball in. And redirected off a defender. It will be a corner. Alejandro Bran, who scored an absolute banger of a goal in the Nations League quarterfinal second leg against Panama last November. Wasn't enough for Costa Rica. They eventually drew that game 2-2, but lost the tie 3-2 on aggregate. So Panama went to the Nations League finals instead of Costa Rica. Still an amazing goal, though. Mora delivers with his left. Still loose on the scissor kick effort, and it's on the doorstep and then cleared away. Almost a spectacular goal for Costa Rica. They recycle it on the edge of the area. Lifted back in and headed wide. Wow. Good chance there, right in front of goal. Back in it comes again, and Wheaton finally can collect and end that attacking sequence for Costa Rica. Seeing plenty of action, Vance Wheaton, as you suspected he would. This game being played in Barbados, by the way. The Bahamas' home ground was not approved by Concacaf and FIFA to host this game, but the Barbados Football Association Technical Centre here in Bridgetown is a very strong facility, highly rated playing surface, and so it's become a hub in the Caribbean. It's begun to host a number of international matches as a neutral site. So this is technically a home game for the Bahamas, but neither side fully at home here. 15 minutes gone, 0-0. The Bahamas hanging in well. Down for Orlando Gallo. Mora. Alcocer. Gallo again, then Alcocer. Mora hugging that touchline. Deep cross, overhit. Bahamas trying to break their way out a bit, can't do so. They ran into Gallo, who feeds for Francisco Calvo, who resets. Kanai Mairi He ran into a defender. That was well done by Ruben Edgecombe. Bahamas would love to keep possession for a little bit. We've already seen the skill from Josemar Alcocer a couple times. He's just 20 years old. It has been a generational shift for Costa Rica over the last couple of years. Some of those old stalwarts of those teams who played in 3 straight World Cups and went to the World Cup quarterfinals in 2014 have begun to age out of the national team. New crop coming in. Alcocer developing his game in the Belgian Pro League currently, as that's a misplaced pass. And a throw for the Bahamas. Belgium has become increasingly a hub for Costa Rican talent abroad. A number of young Costa Rican players making a name for themselves in Belgium in recent years. This is a free kick for the Bahamas. Costa Rica will secure a spot in the next round of qualifying if they win here tonight. Ugalde. On to his right. Ugalde shoots. Deflected down. Chance. Save Wheaton. Second ball alive and struck wide on the half volley. Ugalde just misses. Continues to stay out over the opening 20 for Costa Rica. Good initial save from Vance Wheaton. Point blank stop. It's a good ball out to the left from the Bahamas. They've looked relatively calm and assured on the ball when they've been able to get a hold of it. Just hasn't been very often, and that's what you would expect in a game like this. But they're a pretty skillful team. Just very young, playing at much lower levels than most of their Costa Rican counterparts. Even though their FIFA ranking is still quite low, you can see the improvement from the Bahamas over the last few years. We've talked about it a lot. That's the case for so many of these smaller CONCACAF nations. It's a much deeper region now, but this is fed through. This is a chance. This is the opening goal. Costa Rica cruise into the lead in the 20th minute, and it's tucked away by Alonso Martinez. Great ball through. Martinez did the rest. Took it around Vance Wheaton and slotted it into the open net. And it took nearly 20, but Costa Rica have the opening goal that they expected. And they have set themselves on their way to the final round of qualifying. Well done by Alonso Martinez. Able to take it in stride, able to take it around the keeper. Nothing the Bahamas could do from there. So now, having gotten themselves in front, Costa Rica will try to pour it on. Costa Rica trying to work it around the edge. Martinez playing really well and gets the return ball, and it comes past him Trying to settle it for another shot, and now poking it wide was Alejandro Brown. It was deflected out, though. It is a corner for Costa Rica. Ball swung out with the right. Van Sweeten rises and takes it very well. So Alonso Martinez with the first goal of the night for Costa Rica. Oh, that back pass put Van Sweeten in trouble. Manfred Ugalde almost was able to take it off his toes and would have had an open net. Alonso Martinez, though, that was his first goal for Costa Rica. So congratulations to Alonso Martinez. Plays for New York City FC in Major League Soccer. This is a free kick for Costa Rica as Mora was fouled. Martinez just signed a contract extension with NYCFC, in fact. Previously played for Alajuelense, one of the biggest clubs in Costa Rica. Martinez also played for the Costa Rican side in the 2020 Summer Olympics. A big moment for him with his first senior international goal. Long throw into the box, flick on one. Went behind Martinez, the second ball. Tries to race and track it down. He does. Did really well. Alcacer. Mora. Costa Rica not in a rush. Now that they have that goal, they can be patient. Toward the back post and over and out. Francisco Calvo making a run from that back line. Other games in progress in qualifying. This is actually the only game going on now. Belize will take on Panama in about an hour and a half. Panama trying to book their ticket to the final round if they win that game. Earlier, El Salvador with a 3-0 victory over Anguilla. Jamaica clinching their spot in the final round this fall with a 1-0 win at the British Virgin Islands. We talked about Honduras eventually defeating the Cayman Islands 1-0 with a goal in the 86th minute. What was nearly a historic result for the Cayman Islands. This is a free kick, or a throw that is, for the Bahamas. And Haiti thrashed Aruba 5-0. Haiti clinching their spot as well in the final qualifying round. Rion Radix in charge of this game. Costa Rica, 6 appearances in the World Cup all time. It's been a golden period for them between 2014 and 2022. Over the last couple decades, they had become the best team, the best program in Central America. Panama challenging them for that recently, though. Panama eliminating them in the quarterfinals of the Nations League each of the last 2 years. Strong tackle there, takes it out of play and wins the throw for the Bahamas. It was well done by William Bales for them. Yeah, Costa Rica did finally snap a 6-game losing skid against Panama in that second leg of the Nations League quarterfinal last November with that 2-2 draw, but it still wasn't enough. Panama still went through. Costa Rica is still a huge edge in the all-time series against Panama, but it's a sign of how that rivalry has flipped in recent years. And so Costa Rica trying to reassert that dominance in Central America, become one of the leading contenders in CONCACAF again outside of Mexico and the United States. Wheaton has to stay home. It's headed against a defender. It's still alive in the area for Costa Rica. They didn't really appeal for a penalty there, even as Manfred Ugalde briefly went to the ground. Kevin Leon Thomas in the middle of it for the Bahamas. Mora for Calvo. Lots of space. This ball into the middle was denied by Kevin Keon Thomas again. Milfries. And forward it goes. And the Bahamas just don't have enough bodies able to get forward. And now over the top. This is Martinez with a chance for his second. And he lofts it wide. Maybe a little over elaborate with the finish there. Trying to clip it toward the back post, and ball maybe took a bigger bounce than he was expecting. So he has his first goal for his country. He'll feel he should have had his second there. He'll likely get another opportunity or two at least. Costa Rica, three-time champions of CONCACAF, to go along with their 6 World Cup appearances. 1963, 1969, 1989, their last CONCACAF championship. That was just before it was renamed the Gold Cup. Well, those are still counted. Joseph Mora backing his defender down, lobbing it into the area. Oh, and then Alcocer took his eye off it. And Costa Rica going back through their historical honors list, as we see Nestle Jean, or Kevin Davies that is, on the touchline for the Bahamas. And Costa Rica won a bunch of CCCF championships, which is the precursor to the CONCACAF championship and the Gold Cup back in the 40s and 50s and early 60s. They won that 7 times during those decades, so very decorated national side historically. Outside of Mexico and the United States, they have been pretty consistently the third force in the region. Certainly not lost on them and their fans that they were the ones who reached a World Cup quarterfinal, as this is on goal and Wheaton makes another save. Yeah, Costa Rica reaching the quarterfinals of the World Cup in 2014. Of course, Mexico famously have been trying to get to that 5th game, get out of the round of 16 for many World Cups. The infamous Quinto Partido. And that has haunted Mexico for many cycles. This will be a free kick for Costa Rica. So with Costa Rica getting out of that knockout round and into the final 8 in 2014, that's a big point of pride for them. Now, that in the past now, and they want to build new history, new legacies, new memories to look back on. And it starts with making sure they progress to the next round of CONCACAF qualifying this year, and then try to earn one of those at least 3 spots out of the 12 finalists in that final round in September, October, and November. You see the foul here as Alcocer was tugged to the ground by Kevin Keon Thomas, leading to this free kick for Costa Rica. It should be taken by Francisco Calvo. Three in the wall for the Bahamas. Free kick toward the near post. Hit the outside of the net. Oh, goal kick. Alejandro Brand just hooking that outside the near post. Costa Rica currently ranked in the 50s in the worldwide FIFA rankings. Highest ranking they ever achieved was 13th in 2015. That was just a year after reaching those World Cup quarterfinals. Another free kick for Costa Rica. This will be the first card of the night. Nicolas Lopez is booked in the 32nd minute. I mentioned Nicolas Lopez, regarded as a bright talent for the Bahamas. He's also very academically accomplished in his young school career. He's in the challenging IB diploma program. As this goes across the face of goal, but the offside flag is up. Nicolas Lopez playing at Northeastern University in the United States. That's a very academically rigorous school. See the offside here as Joseph Mora had strayed beyond the back line before that ball was passed to him. Bahamas are missing a couple key players for these qualifiers, unfortunately. Peter Wood-Julmus, who had become one of their leading scorers in the last couple of years, scored 7 goals for them in recent Nations League campaigns, but he was not available for this. Leslie St. Fleur, who is their by far longest serving player, Bahamian legend, their all-time leader in caps and goals, but he was not in the squad for this either. He's a guy that they really could have used in these big underdog games too, because he has great delivery from set pieces. So often for an underdog in these types of games, set pieces are where you might be able to snatch something. Goal kick for the Bahamas here as we approach the final 10 of the first half. Costa Rica would love to put this to bed before halftime. Second goal would go a long way toward doing that. Mora for Calvo. As they try to find a way through this Bahamas defense. Calvo lifts it in and chested down. 1 touch, 2 touches, still alive, and then touched off of Manfred Ugalde. It's a goal kick. Good last-ditch defending again by the Bahamas, who generally have done quite well with that tonight. It's the one time they were undone by that through ball that sent Alonso Martinez in on goal, where he was able to round Wheaton and slot it home in the 20th minute. I think Kevin Davies will be relatively pleased with what he's seen from his team tonight. Bahamas national team, also known as the Baja Boys, of course. Other frequent nickname, the Bahamian Slayers, which is just awesome. Alcocer. Bran. Chance to cross. Defended at the near post, and it rolls out. It is a corner. Jordan Cheatham was in the way for the Bahamas. He had a number of clearances in last Tuesday's game as well. Bahamas losing 6-0 at Grenada in that game. Costa Rica with a win would go back above Trinidad and Tobago. Again, they would wrap up a spot in the next round. This will be hit from the left, and it creeps through Wheaton, and they score. And Costa Rica do grab their second well before halftime. And that's tough on Vance Wheaton, who's played very well in this first half until that moment. But that's one he'll want back. So Costa Rica, 2 goals to the good with 8 minutes to play until half. Started from the short corner. Wasn't a lot on for Costa Rica here. Hit from an angle, hit from some distance, and that's just one that Wheaton will have nightmares about, unfortunately. It's drilled in low by Joseph Mora. It'll be his goal, of course. Wheaton just not getting himself down and behind the ball the way he knows to do. Slight bend on it, but just doesn't move his feet quite enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, goal for Costa Rica, scored by number 8, Joseph Mora, in the 37th minute.
For Joseph Mora, that's his first goal for Costa Rica as well. So 2 players tallying for the first time for the national side tonight. First Alonso Martinez, now Mora. Who's this on the floor? That appears to be Jalen Mitchell for Costa Rica. Miguel Herrera, always animated. Always wearing team blazers wherever he goes. There's images of him celebrating Club America's shootout goals and ultimately their shootout win in the Liga MX final against Cruz Azul years ago. Always iconic. Celebrations at the World Cup for Mexico in 2014, at least during the group phase when they won their 3 group games. Before that infamous and still very bitter defeat in the round of 16 to the Netherlands. And his celebrations on the touchline, always newsworthy. Well, he hasn't gotten much screen time tonight. You didn't expect him to in a game like this, but Keylor Navas, a towering figure at the other end of the pitch. Intercepted by Calvo. Advanced by Brown. Hit by Brown. Gallo. That was not quite kept in play. We're into the final 5 minutes of the first half. So the goals for Martinez and Mora in this first half for Costa Rica. Mora, very experienced left back, had several strong seasons in MLS with DC United. Over 120 appearances in Major League Soccer, in fact. Let's come back to Saprissa in Costa Rica, one of the big historical and traditional powerhouses in that country. The most successful club in Costa Rican history, in fact. Saprissa fans are saying, what do you mean one of? They are the biggest club in Costa Rica. Well, Alajuelense and Herediano to some extent would have some dispute about that, but they are the big three, and Saprissa certainly the most decorated of those three. Of course, Alajuelense fans will be piping up and saying, well, we've won the last 2 Central American Cups, which is true. Anyhow, very vibrant football nation, Costa Rica, hoping to restore the vibrancy to their national side this year. And look for a 3rd goal here in this first half. Bit of a mazy dribble there for a moment from Nicolas Lopez. Being told there will be 2 additional minutes at the end of this first half. Still time for Costa Rica to grab a 3rd before the break. That's given away. And the Bahamas just don't have many players forward, having to rely on individual speed to try to advance the ball. That was what Lothario Lil Frank Milfries was trying to use. Through ball intended for Ugalde. Referee choosing to allow play to go on, and now Costa Rica have won it back. Gallo. Martinez. Mora. Down the line for Mora, put out for a throw. 3.5 minutes left in the half then, counting the 2 additional minutes that we're expecting at the end of the 45. Alcacer, that's a nice ball to the end line, pulled back and stabbed wide to the far post by Martinez. They've interchanged well down the flanks, Costa Rica. And set up that opportunity for Martinez, who didn't really get it out from under his feet as he tried to punch it inside that far post. Alcacer, good first time clipped ball into the path of Ugalde, who returns it to him. He lets it run out for a throw. Myri, another who plays for Saprissa in Costa Rica. This is a free kick. Oh, as we head into first half stoppage time, another set piece for Costa Rica. The end of those 2 additional minutes now, as indicated by 4th official McManaman Badeau. Jordan Cheatham barreling through the back of the attacker. 3 of our 4 match officials today from Grenada, the other from Bermuda. Grenada still just alive in their quest to reach the next round of the World Cup, but they would have to win by a really crooked number against St. Kitts and Nevis, and Trinidad and Tobago would have to lose at Costa Rica on Tuesday. Trinidad losing to Costa Rica, certainly not at all out of the question. Costa Rica would be favorites in that game, in fact, but question is by how much, and could Grenada actually take advantage? 2 over this free kick, meanwhile. It's Braun who hits it. It's Braun who scores. He is a distance specialist, Alejandro Braun. And he has another from outside the area. That one direct from a free kick. Costa Rica add to their lead before half. Well, he whips it inside that near post, gets enough bend on it to take it around the diving Vance Wheaton. Terrific technique. Watch him set this just outside the wall, really over the wall, actually. There's not a lot Wheaton can do. He has the wall set up, had them lined up correctly, as you could see from that shot behind the goal. It wasn't that the wall was too far to one direction or the other. Brown just beat it. Over and up and down. Tough to do, not impossible. He proved it. There's the halftime whistle. Costa Rica finishing the half with a flourish. Bahamas defended well for long stretches, but it was all one-way traffic, as we expected, and Costa Rica found the gaps, found the breakthroughs. Martinez in the 20th, Mora in the 37th, Bran in the final minute of added time. And so at the break, here at the Barbados Football Association Technical Centre in Bridgetown, Barbados, it is Costa Rica 3, the Bahamas 0.
Vale, empieza ya, tren superior, vale, si tenemos tiempo.
Here are the highlights from the first 45 minutes tonight in Barbados between the Bahamas and Costa Rica. After the national anthems were played, always a proud moment to represent your country in a World Cup qualifier. Costa Rica knew there was business to be done tonight, and they were able to accomplish it eventually in that first half. Barbados, such a young side, and they did pretty well for long stretches in the first half, but Costa Rica always on the attack. An early save from Vance Wheaton in the second minute forced by this drive by Josimar Alcocer. Bahamas had a couple decent moments. They were able to win a free kick there through Kevin Keon Thomas. Costa Rica continued to probe for that opening goal. This one was volleyed just wide by Alonso Martinez. And then Martinez with a scissor kick almost found the net, but ran into a wall of bodies. But then the opening goal in the 20th minute. Great through ball, fed into the path of Martinez, who was able to round Wheaton and calmly finish for his first goal for Costa Rica and their first goal of the evening. And it was a terrific ball through, and Martinez doing the rest with great calm and poise. And Costa Rica opening the scoring on the night. So it's a fine moment for Martinez, and he would almost add to it a couple minutes later. Put clean through again and trying to loft the ball into that far corner. Maybe a little cute with his finish. I think in retrospect, he would have liked to have just taken that down and drilled it past the keeper, but it stayed 1-0 for the moment. And this foul turned into a yellow card against Nicolas Lopez. That was the only caution of the first half. In the 37th minute, the scoreline was doubled, and unfortunately it was a tough mistake from Vance Wheaton, who had made some good saves in the first half. Just didn't quite move his feet and get behind this ball and had it slip under his fingers and into the back of the net. The goal for Joseph Mora, also his first for Costa Rica. He'll take it, they'll take it. It was 2-0. Costa Rica still had time to add a third. The free kick from Alejandro Bran right before the half came from that foul, and then Bran, beautiful finish, curling it over the net, or over the wall that is, into the net at the near post. And Bran with the third goal for Costa Rica. So a big lead for Los Ticos. We'll see if they can add to it in the second half as they cruise toward the final round of Concacaf qualifying. It is Costa Rica 3, the Bahamas 0. Here are the stats from the first half. 21 shots for Costa Rica to none for the Bahamas. 9 on target for Los Ticos as well. They had 76% of the ball. Just 4 fouls whistled either way. Again, the only card being shown to the Bahamas, Nicolas Lopez. 5 corners, all belonging to Costa Rica as well. We'll be back with the second half in just a few minutes. Costa Rica in command, looking for more in the second 45 from Bridgetown. Back for the second half here in Barbados between Costa Rica and the Bahamas. Costa Rica making 2 changes at the start of this second half. They're bringing on Christopher Nunez and Andy Rojas. A chance to rotate a bit with the lead and the game both fairly comfortable already. Andy Rojas, his 6th cap for the national side. He's scored a goal for them already. He's just 19 years old. Another part of this new generation, this next wave of Ticos. They hope will turn into a future star for the national team. Christopher Nunez with just his 4th cap for Costa Rica. He's playing in Greece currently, known for his creativity and vision, operating in the space between the midfield and the defense. Bahamas getting us back underway in the second half. They're wearing the gold, and we are back in motion here in Barbados, in Bridgetown, with referee Riyad Radix blowing the second half whistle. Keylor Navas still in goal for Costa Rica, his 116th appearance for them. Kene Mairi and Alejandro Bran, the 2 players that made way at halftime. Bran scoring that beautiful free kick goal just before the half. And Costa Rica will play again on Tuesday against Trinidad and Tobago. It'd be interesting to see how they approach that game. Both those sides will play in the Gold Cup starting next weekend as well, so likely won't want to risk too many injuries. Trinidad, their spot in the next round won't quite be secure yet 100%, so they'll have to go for it. Costa Rica, it'll remain to be seen how they'll line up, how they'll approach it. First, they'll focus on this second half. They'd love to add as many goals as possible, of course. Bahamas just trying to be tenacious and as competitive as they can be as their qualifying campaign wraps up tonight. Hit with the left foot from outside the area. That did take a deflection, so it's the first corner of the second half. Taken short by Costa Rica. Orlando Gallo. In the area it comes, back out it goes. Calvo lifts it in. Great ball, good save, Van Sweeten. Still alive for Martinez, clipped in front, there's number 4. Persistence from Los Ticos. The finish from Orlando Gallo. And more to celebrate for Costa Rica early in the second half. And more to celebrate for the Costa Rican fans as well. It's Orlando Gallo's first goal for the national side, so 3 players have registered their first for Costa Rica tonight. Gallo the latest. It was a great initial ball in. Terrific stop from Van Sweeten, but put back across the face of goal and finished terrifically by Gallo. And Martinez, who picked up his first goal earlier, has an assist as well. What a save from Wheaton initially. He robbed Juan Pablo Vargas on that first attempt. And lifted over the top. This is a chance for 5, and it's another chance for Alonso Martinez, who has 1. Could have had 4 or 5 on his own by now. Well, Orlando Gallo, who's normally a defensive midfielder who brings some steel and energy to the center of the park for Costa Rica. Well, here's Bahamas getting themselves forward. Haven't been able to do this very often. It's a good dribble from Nicolas Lopez before he runs into Vargas on the edge of the area. Costa Rica working it inside with Andy Rojas. Rojas exchanging well. And Calvo thought about having a hit, threads it through instead. Great turn, what a block. Second ball on the doorstep and tucked home. Another for Los Ticos. This one from Manfred Ugalde, who becomes their 5th goal scorer of the night. A night that continues to improve for Los Ticos. And their young contingent keeps producing. First try was blocked, unselfishly put right back into his path. Look at this turn, that's very good. It's a great block from Jonathan Miller initially. And then the ball back into the middle by Martinez, who picks up his 2nd assist of this second half. It's very unselfish from Martinez. Watch the block and then watch Martinez. He could score himself here. Instead, he sets up his teammate for the tap in. So Ugalde joins the parade. Talked about him earlier. Guy is playing in Russia. He's still 23, which makes him one of the older of these young hotshots that Costa Rica have, but known for being a clinical finisher with very intelligent movement. Has that high work rate, too, that you need from a striker. And that was his 7th goal for Costa Rica. Alonso off for Nunez, and this time Van Sweeten able to make the stop. Headed back by Juan Pablo Vargas to Keylor Navas. It's been the only action Keylor Navas has had tonight in his return to the national team. Those back passes from his teammates. Jalen Mitchell shook off an injury late in the first half. It's been good to see him able to continue. Here he is out wide. First time ball whistled all the way across the top of the 18. First touch was pretty good. Gallo. Rojas. Wanted to shoot. Costa Rica getting a lot of practice on these little exchanges on the edge of the 18 against a packed defense. It's a valuable experience. Now the left-footed effort whistles over the bar from Calvo. And one more qualifying game to come later tonight in CONCACAF. Belize home to Panama. Belize already eliminated from contention for the next round. They've lost their first 3 games in that group. Panama won their first 2 of this second round last June. They finally get to resume their qualifying campaign tonight. Nicaragua are in front of them for first in that group, having won all 3 of their games. Panama 3 points ahead of Guyana for second. Guyana played yesterday, lost 1-0 at Nicaragua, so it's a chance for Panama to wrap up a spot in that final qualifying round if they can get even a point tonight. 1 or 3 points would be enough for them to move on. Now from the edge of the area, this one curled just over the bar, off a defender's foot. Alcocer denied for now. Corner for Costa Rica, 10 minutes into the second half. Outswinging ball and rising up, forcing the save. Juan Pablo Vargas with the contact. Van Sweeten able to get down well. Jordan Cheatham possibly taking some contact to the head. Calvo, neat through ball. Alcocer is offside. Now substitution coming for the Bahamas. William Bales coming off for them. And Lance Alexander Carroll is on in his place. So William Bales, a central midfielder, done after 56 minutes today. Number of Costa Rican fans here tonight. Bahamas have a free kick in the attacking half. 5 different goal scorers for Costa Rica so far. 3 in the first half, 2 so far in the second.
Ladies and gentlemen, substitution for the Bahamas leaving the field of play will be number 5, Kevin Thomas, and he will be replaced by number 3, Lance Carroll, in the 58th minute.
The Bahamas with the free kick. It's whipped to the back post, but nobody on the end of it in goal. A goal kick for Costa Rica, who have cruised comfortably tonight. Yeah, frustrating for Kevin Davies. You get a free kick in the attacking half, you have to at least give somebody a chance to get on the end of it. Here comes Andy Rojas down this right flank for Costa Rica, and his cross touched wide by Ugalde, who was looking for his second of the night. Costa Rica throw, just over half an hour to play. And earlier today, Jamaica outlasting the British Virgin Islands 1-0 as they booked their spot in the last qualifying round. This is driven and sliced wide by Jalen Mitchell. Honduras with that 86th minute winner to finally defeat the Cayman Islands, who gave it such a game battle for so long in that game. This was the chance a moment ago for Ugalde. It's a good ball whipped in by Rojas. I think Martinez wanted Ugalde to leave it because he was crashing in at that back post and would have had a tap in. Wonderful turn. Well done by Christopher Nunez. Ugalde advanced it. Alcocer, the step overs, comes all the way across and behind Rojas. Tracked by Mitchell. 60 minutes gone. Rojas and Mitchell. And Mitchell, neat feet, but couldn't get past a second player. That was Lance Alexander Carroll in the way. The Bahamas, of course, as a national team program, as a nation, showing great resilience in the wake of Hurricane Dorian in 2019. They had help as well from organizations like the Scottish FA, who donated quite a sum of money to help the Bahamas FA rebuild their footballing infrastructure, repurchasing vital equipment, supporting coach education. The global football community came together to help out the Bahamas in the wake of that storm and its aftermath. This is an offside flag against Manfred Ugalde. Substitute board goes up again. This is a Costa Rica change as Warren Madrigal replaces Alonso Martinez, who grabbed his first goal for his country tonight, along with 2 assists. They also subbed Joseph Mora off. Another player scored his first for Los Ticos. Ariel Lassiter comes on for him. Ariel Lassiter, veteran, plays for Portland Timbers in Major League Soccer. '23rd cap for Lassiter. Son of former MLS and Costa Rica star Roy Lassiter, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, a double substitution for Costa Rica. Leaving the field of play, number 12, Alonso Martinez. And
Ariel Lassiter, always a threat on the wing. Likes to cut inside and shoot. This is a chance for a 6th goal. It's Andy Rojas, who somehow misses that far post. Never quite looked like he'd been able to make up his mind as to what he wanted to do there. Goalkeeper Vance Wheaton came out and started to challenge, then hung back. And right here, both just kind of freezed. Rojas trying to settle that bouncing ball. I think he was trying to lift it into that far side netting. Good chance for his second Costa Rican goal that goes begging for now. Warren Madrigal, the other player, came on a moment ago for Costa Rica. He's just 20. It's this youth movement for Los Ticos, a big thing for them. Athletic, powerful forward, product of Saprisa's famous youth academy. This is Jalen Mitchell laying it off. Another save, loose ball, tucked home. And just off the bench, it is Warren Madrigal on the score sheet now. Van Sweeten couldn't quite get it under control. And 6-0 to Costa Rica. It's good movement on the edge of the area. Jalen Mitchell able to take it around one, then laying it off. And was hit with pace, and Van Sweeten trying a couple times to gather the rebounds, and Madrigal able to pounce. I'm not sure if Wheaton might have taken a knee to his knee in the aftermath. Might be to the hip area. So 25 minutes to play. Costa Rica 3 in the first half, 3 so far in the second.
Costa Rica by number 17, Warren Madrigal, in the 65th minute.
Tough for the Bahamas. They're simply overmatched here. They know it. They battled well, especially in the first half. First 35 minutes, they had only conceded the 1 goal. And the second and third were real killers because the second squibbed through Van Sweeten. It's a save he normally makes. And then the third was just a world-class free kick from Alejandro Brown right on the stroke of halftime. So from 1-0, it went to 3-0. And you always had the feeling that once Costa Rica could score a couple, they would go on to score a bunch. And that is turning out to be exactly the case. He knows there are bigger challenges ahead, Miguel Herrera, but be pretty pleased with how the side have handled this one tonight. And for Kevin Davies and the Bahamas, it's all about incremental growth and trying to gradually inch their way up the Concacaf totem pole. Costa Rican free kick. Second time that Lance Alexander Carroll's been whistled for a foul since coming on here in the second half. So one more game to come later tonight in CONCACAF qualifying, and then a full slate on Tuesday as everybody wraps up their group stage. Still a number of group winners to be decided. Even though the top 2 advance, you still would like to finish top of your group if you can. You want to improve your FIFA ranking, since that impacts a lot of other things, seedings, pots for future draws, etc. So there'll be some good matchups in that final day on Tuesday. El Salvador home to Suriname, among others, as Orlando Gallo is on the floor for Costa Rica. Jamaica playing Guatemala on Tuesday. Another excellent matchup. This was the collision between Kevin Keon Thomas and Orlando Gallo. Some other headline games coming up on Tuesday. Panama home to Nicaragua. Those have been the 2 best teams in that group, of course. Panama trying to secure their place in the next round later tonight so that they can already have that in their back pocket when they face Nicaragua. Costa Rica will take on Trinidad and Tobago on Tuesday. That should be a very good matchup as well. Trinidad and Tobago not quite over the line in qualifying for the next round. They're in a very strong position. They would have to lose by a multi-goal margin most likely against Costa Rica, and Grenada would have to win by probably 3 or 4 goals at least against St. Kitts and Nevis. It's a 7-goal advantage in plus-minus in goal differential for Trinidad and Tobago going into that final round. And they're 3 points ahead for second place as well. Navas will easily handle this at the edge of his area. Cuba and Bermuda, a very intriguing game coming up on Tuesday. That's one that will directly decide who advances out of Group A. Honduras locked up their spot at the top of that group earlier today. Here comes Wheaton to claim this, but first his teammate Jordan Cheatham takes it in front of him with 20 minutes to go in this game here in Barbados. 3 in the first half, 3 in the second half for Costa Rica. Nipped away by Christopher Nunez. Here comes Jalen Mitchell. His shot was blocked. Continues to be one-way traffic in Costa Rica's favor. Yeah, Cuba and Bermuda head-to-head on Tuesday. Cuba 2 points ahead of Bermuda for second place. They're on 6 points, Bermuda on 4. That's been the most evenly matched group, arguably, Group A. Here goes Christopher Nunez, tackled on the edge of the area. It's a good tackle as well. Just when it looked like he was going to maze his way through and add a 7th for Costa Rica, it was Kevin Keon Thomas who stood him up. So Cuba in that game against Bermuda, that will be in Santiago on Tuesday. Cuba would just need a draw. Bermuda would have to win that game away from home. So Cuba the favorites, but Bermuda still with a chance going into the final match day of this second round, which is all they would have asked for when this qualification round started last June. Wheaton claims this. Mentioned that game between Suriname and El Salvador coming up on Tuesday. That's an intriguing one as well. Suriname have already advanced. They've clinched at least their spot in the next round. They're trying to win that group as well. El Salvador on 7 points to Suriname's 9. But El Salvador are not safe yet. Puerto Rico 3 points behind them. But Puerto Rico have a better goal differential as this is scuffed and the flag was offside, or the flag was up for offside anyway, against Warren Madrigal. Here come 2 changes for the Bahamas now. We're going to bring on Omar Charles Chamali and also Lamond Andrew Cross. Off comes Nicolas Lopez. He's been on a yellow since the first half. They also bring off Ruben Edgecombe. Three subs used now for Bahamas. Costa Rica have used 4 of theirs. So that El Salvador-Suriname match on Tuesday, it'll be at the Estadio Cuscatlán in San Salvador. If Suriname were to beat El Salvador in that game, if El Salvador takes 0 points, here's the first shot of the night for the Bahamas. It's taken by Lothario Lil Frank Milfries, and it's the first save of the night in his return to the national team for Keylor Navas in his 116th appearance for Los Ticos. But if El Salvador were to lose at home to Suriname on Tuesday, which is hardly out of the question, as here goes Rojas for Costa Rica, and Rojas crosses all the way through and put out for a throw. If El Salvador lose that game on Tuesday, and if Puerto Rico win at home against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they'll certainly be favorites in that one. This is at the top of the box for Rojas, who tries to protect it. Well, Puerto Rico with that better goal differential than El Salvador. So often going into these final games of rounds like this, as this will be taken by Vance Wheaton, you see a team that's 3 points behind second place, but they have such an inferior goal differential that it would take a minor miracle for them to overturn it. But that's not the case in Group F. Puerto Rico are +7. El Salvador only +5, even though they're 3 points ahead. So that leaves El Salvador still very much in jeopardy going into that last qualifying game, because if Suriname beat them, and Suriname are quite good, we've talked about their fast rise in CONCACAF over the last half decade especially, as they have begun to allow dual nationals from that very wide and very rich Surinamese diaspora. Many legends that have graced the Dutch national team over generations now eligible to play for Suriname. So if they can do Puerto Rico a favor and defeat El Salvador at the Estadio Cuscatlán, Puerto Rico, if they take care of business against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they could leap El Salvador into second and go through themselves. And that would be a bitter disappointment for El Salvador. So that will be a tense night in San Salvador on Tuesday. So still some drama to come on Tuesday at the end of this second CONCACAF qualifying round. Vance Wheaton eventually able to gather this with 14 minutes to go in this one. Costa Rica, 3 goals before halftime, 3 goals since. They are cruising through to the final round of qualification themselves. Warren Madrigal has scored since coming on. Andy Rojas has certainly been involved. He's been disappointed not to score a couple times. It's the kind of night where anybody who gets on the pitch feels like this is their night to score. Jonathan Miller, the player who's down for the Bahamas. Here comes the final change of the night for Costa Rica. They send Alvaro Zamora into the game. Manfred Ugalde, one of their goal scorers, jogs off after 77.5 minutes. Alvaro Zamora, one of a couple Costa Rican national team members who are playing over in Greece these days. He's only 23, very technically gifted player, very good in tight spaces. Kind of player that can unlock a defense with a clever pass or a piece of individual skill.
Substitution for Costa Rica, leaving the field of play, number 9.
There's Madrigal prodding it through, and back for Madrigal, who scores his second, and Costa Rica's 7th. A magnificent 7 for Los Ticos. The assist for Josemar Alcocer, who set him up beautifully. Those two with a great 1-2 sequence. And Costa Rica's party continues here in Barbados tonight. This was a pretty exchange, and Alcocer could have tried to shoot from that acute angle, but it's a very good cutback. Basically a no-look cutback as well. Very well done. On a plate for Madrigal, who gobbles it up gratefully. And so Madrigal, the first multi-goal scorer of the night for Costa Rica. They love it. It's been an enjoyable night for everybody in red and blue. Rojas for Costa Rica. Little slip from Jalen Mitchell as he tried to cut in field. We wind our way into the final 10 minutes tonight. Throw into the top of the box, caught the Bahamas, spread across the face and blocked out. Justin Edwin Philip Mins got in the way of that. Be a corner for Costa Rica. Outswinging ball and flicked wide from that near post header. Kept in play by Mitchell. Mitchell tried to accelerate around Lance Alexander Carroll.
Ladies and gentlemen, goal for Costa Rica scored in the 79th minute by number 17, Warren Madrigal.
A little confusion initially over whether that was a throw or a corner. It is a corner. A lot of these Bahamas players juggling academic studies with their duties representing the national side. Talked about their emphasis at the Bahamian FA about getting more players on scholarship in places like the United States. Some players playing semi-professionally at the juggling act of pursuing a degree and representing your national side, as this is a tough collision in the box. Both players stay down afterward. Quite a leap from Jalen Mitchell. He got up over Jonathan Miller. Yeah, it's been a very hot night in the Caribbean with match time temperatures in the mid-80s, but a high humidity level, as you'd expect. Earlier today in the Cayman Islands, we had feels-like temperatures of over 100. Not quite that extreme here tonight in Barbados, but still draining, especially as you get late in a game like this. And Jonathan Miller's been on for the entire 83 minutes. Costa Rica still looking to split lines and score goals. They might have something on again here. That's a wonderful reverse ball. Madrigal with a chance for the hat trick, and he puts it wide. You don't get too many opportunities to score a hat trick for your country, and Warren Madrigal had a good chance at it there. What a terrific little back clip from Alvaro Zamora to set him in. Madrigal will be disappointed with that. Van Sweeten going down. It's been a tiring night for the Bahamas goalkeeper. A couple mistakes. He's also made some really good saves. You're facing the volume of shots and pressure that he's faced tonight. Very difficult to be flawless. Costa Rica with 78% of the ball. They've taken 42 shots, 17 on target. Actually 43 now, that just updated. Two changes for the Bahamas. These will be their final two of the night. Atari Moss and Joshua Anton are coming on. Lothario Lilfranc Milfries makes his way off, along with Jonathan Miller, who took that knock a couple minutes ago in that duel with Jalen Mitchell. Dangerous pass into the middle. Josimar Alcocer, he's had a role in a few goals tonight. He'd love to score one himself, I'm sure. Calvo spinning it to that near side. Kept in play for Mitchell. Mitchell trying to burst to the end line and was looking for a foul. It's just a goal kick.
Ladies and gentlemen,
well, Miguel Herrera trying to rebuild the confidence in this squad. Nights like this where you get to score 7 goals certainly help. This is Keylor Navas out of his area to calmly sweep up.
He is being replaced by number 2, Atari Moss. Substitutions being made in the 86th minute.
Costa Rica on the prowl for an 8th goal. Andy Rojas. Jalen Mitchell. Costa Rica hoping to play in a 7th FIFA World Cup next year. They will certainly be playing in the final qualifying round this fall, September, October, November. 12 teams qualifying for that last qualifying round out of 30 who took part in this one. That's the format with 5 teams in each group, only 2 advancing out of each of those groups. Those 12 teams this fall, as Costa Rica thought they had a throw there, goes the other direction. 12 teams in the final qualifying round this fall. They'll be drawn into 3 groups of 4. The 3 group winners will punch their ticket to the World Cup next summer in the United States and Mexico and Canada. 2 others, the 2 best 2nd place finishers, will go into the Intercontinental playoff next March. So again, there is the possibility that Concacaf could have as many as 5 additional qualifiers out of those final 12 to go along with the US and Canada and Mexico, who are of course already automatically qualified. So Concacaf will have at least 6, potentially up to 8 representatives at this forthcoming FIFA World Cup next summer. We're in the final minute of the 90 here in Barbados. Haven't been many things to sweep up and clear for Juan Pablo Vargas, but he did there. Starting another attack the other way. That's a wonderful reverse ball. It's taken first time, and it's drilled wide by Alvaro Zamora. Terrific ball. Look away pass, Zamora off the outside of the net. Their 44th shot. Now a turnover and an 8th goal. And it is Zamora who finishes this time. In a blink, it fell to him on the edge of the box, and he drilled it home. 5th of the second half, 8th overall for Los Ticos tonight. We're into 3 additional minutes of stoppage time. Well, not a great moment for the Bahamas. Just handed straight to Zamora. And the kind of quality that these Costa Rican players have, that's a mistake that is often going to be punished. Costa Rica's biggest win, by the way, in their international history, a 12-0 victory over Puerto Rico back in 1946. So they're not going to eclipse that tonight. They do have a chance to score 9. That attack breaks down as Nunez wanted to hit it but didn't have the angle to do so. Here they come with Rojas, stepping through one challenge. Looking to skirt a second and a third.
Alvaro Zamora. This goal was scored in the 90th minute.
Tari Moss with the touch for the Bahamas there. Now by the end line, Zamora is loose again. Zamora's cut back. Taken on the back end by Calvo, who whistles it wide. Costa Rica just might have to settle for 8. They'll still probably have one more attack at least. They do indeed. It's Rojas trying to lift it into Zamora's path. Final minute of stoppage time. Alcocer. Mitchell. Rojas. Great ball movement. Chance for number 9. It's over the bar. It was touched. It is a corner. Might have been a save from Vance Wheaton. It's a really good one if so. Jalen Mitchell, who hasn't scored tonight, nearly did. See if the referee allows this corner to be taken as we eclipse the 3 additional minutes. Rion Radix will allow the corner. Last action of the match. Rojas for Alcocer. Madrigal still on a hat trick. Scoops it into the area and cleared away. There is the full-time whistle. And Costa Rica cruise into the final round of Concacaf qualifying with a definitive and comprehensive victory here in Barbados tonight over the Bahamas. They scored 3 in the first half. They poured on 5 in the second half. 7 different players on the score sheet for them. A night to remember for Costa Rica. A tough one for the Bahamas as their qualifying campaign comes to a close. A memorable moment for them, though, as they had the chance to play against Keylor Navas. That's something that Vance Wheaton will never forget, I'm sure, and neither would these other Bahamas players. They were hoping it would turn out a bit better in terms of the scoreline, but still a great experience for this very young national side, one of the growing federations in CONCACAF. But it is Costa Rica moving on They'll have a final game in this qualifying round against Trinidad and Tobago on Tuesday, which should still be a tasty one. But they know that the job is already done in terms of making sure that they will be present this fall when the quest to reach the 2026 FIFA World Cup really heats up in earnest. Here tonight, it was all Ticos. It finishes Costa Rica 8, the Bahamas 0.
San Fernando to West Moorings, to Arima, to the world.
So a memorable night for Costa Rica as they took on the Bahamas this evening here in Barbados. With Barbados huge underdogs at the start of the night, and Costa Rica opened the scoring in the 20th minute. The first goal for his national side for Alonso Martinez as he rounded the keeper and put it home after a very good through ball. The Bahamas, who had defended quite well, had played quite well over the opening 20 minutes. They were undone. And they would take a yellow card shortly thereafter as Nicolas Lopez went into the book. In the 37th minute, the second goal arrived for Costa Rica. Again, Bahamas played well for a lot of the first half, but this goal was really the start of the onslaught. It is one, unfortunately, that Vance Wheaton will want back at his near post. Just squibbed under him. And that was when the rout really began for Costa Rica. And just before halftime, they would add a third. There wasn't a whole lot that the Bahamas could do about this. Just a moment of quality and class from Alejandro Brown. Such a good free kick. He is such a classy player. And so Brown made it 3 to the good for Costa Rica at the break. And in the second half, they would add 5 more. It started just a couple minutes into the second half. Martinez picking up the assist, putting it across the face of goal, where it was acrobatically volleyed home. And then, well, this was the goal again. It's a really good finish from 6 yards out. Orlando Gallo added his name to the score sheet. And then a couple minutes after that, it would be 5. The initial take and turn from Manfred Ugalde was very good, and then eventually it was put back into Ugalde's path. It was an unselfish pass from Martinez, who could have tried to score when it fell to him, but he put it on a plate for Ugalde instead. And so Ugalde made it 5. And Miguel Herrera taking nothing for granted tonight. He was enjoying the effort, enjoying the goals. Andy Rojas got on the pitch, helped set up this near goal for Ugalde, who couldn't quite finish on the full volley. Didn't take long, though, for the 6th goal to arrive. And it came after a juggle from Wheaton, which Warren Madrigal pounced upon to make it 6 for Costa Rica. Just wasn't quite able to get it under control, and Madrigal was right there to hunt out that mistake and pounce on it. So a 3rd goal of the second half. Madrigal would add yet another shortly thereafter. That was his 2nd. He was the only multi-goal scorer on the night. Very balanced scoring performance from Costa Rica. Fine ball from Josimar Alcocer as well. And so Costa Rica rolling to a big victory tonight over the Bahamas to roll on to the final round of Concacaf qualifying. They would add an 8th late on this mistake out of the back from the Bahamas that was finished by Alvaro Zamora. Seized on that wayward pass, finished right away, no hesitation. Drilled it back against his body. So great performance from Costa Rica. A night to learn from for the Bahamas. Now, So congratulations to Costa Rica, who go through to that final qualifying round. We hope you enjoyed our production tonight. For our entire great crew, I'm Donnie Barnes saying good night from the Barbados Football Association Technical Center here in Bridgetown, where again it finishes Costa Rica 8, the Bahamas 0.
When your best friends are gone and it's only